go ahead and do that.
And then I'm going to make you host just so you can share your screen.
Okay. Is that sharing?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone from California. It is sunny and 70 and beautiful again.
Way to rub it in.
Week 4. So we're right in the middle. I've seen some incredible progress so far. So everybody who's been putting the work in, pat yourself on the back. It's awesome. We're at this place that I know Seth Godin calls the dip, and it might not be the dip for everybody, but I think it's a concept worth touching on, because if you go into business or any creative pursuit, you're gonna eventually hit the dip. Like even me personally, at this stage in my copywriting, I have my own kind of dip that I'm dealing with to try and, push through and level up. It's this idea that when you get the rush exhilaration, maybe it's a new client, a sales letter that wins, something that gets you on this high, and the next thing that happens are a series of maybe defeats or flatlining, or you can call it a plateau, you can call it whatever you want, but I want to talk about something that happens to every copywriter, every entrepreneur, every artist, and that's the feeling of kind of getting back to the drawing board and wondering, like, am I a one-hit wonder? Did that, was that just a fluke thing? So if that's going through your mind right now, know that that's totally normal. Know that a dip is a shape that does go back up, and it's just the nature of the game. So the more you can be prepared and know that that's a normal thing, I think the better you'll fare in this business. So yeah, all to say, don't get discouraged if you're in your own dip. And if you're not, know that there's probably one down the road for you, and it's nothing to be super afraid of or worried about. But yeah, let's just keep cruising through that stuff. And if you are ever having mental junk, we like to talk about that stuff too. This game is mental as much as it is, a hard skill. So, which brings me to.
Can I just add something in there? Like,
yeah, sure.
I really like what Austin's saying here about the dip. Like, you do get sold a lot that internet marketing is like this. Suddenly you get this huge win or something, and then your progress is like straight up like this. In reality, it's much more like the progress is kind of like this. Like in a year or two, you'll look back and you'll be like, holy crap, I came a long way and I made a lot of progress, but it was a lot of ups and downs. That's going to be the reality of it. That's going to be the reality of any venture you take. I think it's not the whole like suddenly gets really good thing is sort of it's just marketing. It's what it is. So that being said, the best advice I can give you is just like, don't stop. As long as you just don't stop and just keep going, your life will get really good. And that's compared to like what you would be doing in like, say, like going to college for 8 years or like working in a job for 8 years, like an office job. It's going to be way better. So
and faster, like in a sense,
yeah,
yes,
faster for sure.
The overnight thing is marketing, but relative to, most careers, you can get good at this much faster. Much
to like college. Like, for example, like 4 years studying copywriting direct response will yield such a huge, exponentially greater payoff than 4 years in college.
Yeah, depending on what your goals are, but yeah, like.
Well, true. Depending on what you went to college for or whatever, So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm tooting the same horn that everyone else toots. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, we can, you can do this much faster than most things. That being said, you should still aim for speed more than perfection, which brings me to the quote, money loves speed. The faster you can turn things around, reach out to clients, reply to clients, you're gonna you're gonna have a competitive edge against other copywriters who are in a similar position. And so um, it's a differentiating factor that it doesn't require any certain type of skill. Um, so anybody can use speed as a competitive advantage. And I think that's what kind of makes it special when you're starting out is like, you don't necessarily have to be the best or the most creative, but if you can be the fastest and create, quick turnarounds on projects, clients are going to like you. And, a lot of copywriters are slow. So if you can be fast, it's good. And I don't just mean, copy projects. I mean, kind of everything. Like when a client sends you a message and you can get back super quickly, it sends a certain type of signal. And there's a certain effect where somebody gets very excited about a new purchase. It could be a golf club, it could be hiring a copywriter. There's that moment in time where they're super excited about it, but that fades. You think about if you've ever been on Amazon and you're all excited about, and then you kind of just, the phone rang or something. I still have stuff in my Amazon cart that I haven't bought, like from weeks ago. It's kind of the same idea in that, like, if you don't want to create slack in that conversation, you want to keep that moving along. And so I'll encourage you to, when you have somebody who seems interested and they're, rather quick about messaging you, like try and stay on top of that. And I know it's not convenient, especially, with everything, in your life going on, maybe you have to text. I do know that paid off for me when I was getting freelance clients. And so yeah, I just want you guys to focus on being fast more than being perfect. And
I'll also toss this out there. Like I think everyone is doing a great job on this front. Like I've seen everybody do work and everybody like write stuff and everybody like hustle, like everyone in this group. So, I want to say like good job, pat yourself on the back. Like you guys are doing great, and just keep going. Like an analogy I like to make is, when you're writing stuff, you don't have to make it perfect. You have to make it good, reasonable, somewhere in the good to great area, and just get it out the door. And that's the same with any venture. Like say, for example, 2 years ago, I started learning surfing, right? And like if I were to teach someone how to surf, which I'm not good enough to right now, basically what I would do is I wouldn't tell them like, you need to perfectly place your hand here. You need to sit out, you balance like this. You need to do this, right? I would say like, go out there and just fall off as many waves as you can. Like just go out there and just try as many as you can. That's it.
yeah.
Like that's the same thing with copywriting. Just go out there, you try, you do it. And if you fall, you fall. That's okay. That's like, the faster you do it, the faster you'll get better. The more you fall, the better you get.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Just, yeah, we preach repetitions, and for good reason. It's like the only way to move forward, and the best way. Okay, so how to stay healthy when you interact. This was something like my mental health was not good when I was a freelancer early. Because I tied my self-worth to things that I should never have tied to. So when a client would ghost me, especially one that I thought I did a good job selling, it would affect me on a personal level, and that wasn't healthy. So and it's because I didn't understand necessarily how, the wider business world worked. And this is probably elementary for some of you guys, but people just have stuff going on in their lives. You don't know if their dog just choked on a fork. You don't know if their daughter is didn't get picked up for school for some reason. Like, it could be anything. And so if somebody ghosts you, don't take it personally. Remember, money loves speed. So keep talking to other people. Don't hesitate to follow up. You should never hesitate to follow up if somebody's ghosting. I usually go like, I think I have this in a later slide, but yeah. Okay. So yes. So squeaky wheel gets the oil. Most people follow up once and then forget. You are going to follow up 5 times, maybe 7 times. Be annoying. Seriously. I mean, here's what's the worst that can happen. It's somebody you already don't know. I mean, let's say you really make them mad and you send 7 emails. And then after the 7th one, they finally tell you to stop. Like, you're no worse off than when you started. They're not going to go telling people that you're an annoying copywriter. Like, just, there's literally no downside is what I'm saying to following up. So follow up often and be polite to say, hey, I know you're interested in, so-and-so. If you'd still like to chat about that, I'd love to jump on a call. Like, be nice. Don't be rude. Like, hey, this is the 4th time I've tried to reach out to you. Where are you? I think you guys get that though. Okay. So we may have touched on this a bit in the webinar, but I'd like to revisit it. This comes down to information gathering, finding out, not every time are you going to know who you're about to talk to, but if you can find out some details on the business owner, and if you see connections, like maybe you're both from Wichita, I don't know, like stuff like that, that should be the first thing in your interaction. Hey, I noticed something about you that's like me. That's cool. Also, I'm a copywriter. So it's like this chicken or the egg thing. I know I worried about this because I was like young and I was like, I don't know if they're going to trust me. So I was worried, like, well, what if they don't like me? And, people hire people that they like. So I'd say, like, you don't have to be their best friend. You don't even have to be their friend. But do try and find commonalities, because that'll make you easier to hire. And that's one of those things that it's like more of a soft skill, but I feel like is worth hitting on. Okay, so if mental health was a thing I wasn't good at, this is something I was really good at. You should fill your dead time, your hours where you're doing laundry or driving or I don't know, walking the dog, have headphones in and be listening to podcasts like I Love Marketing, Kevin Rogers, Copy Chief podcast, anything with direct response in it. And, maybe even have notes out in your phone. And as you're learning this stuff, you should tie it in with the conversations you're having with clients, stuff you notice on their website and their sales letters. So as you're learning stuff, you're also applying it. So I remember, like, anytime I would read a blog article that was interesting or listen to a podcast where I learned a new thing, I would try and, give that to the client, say, hey, have you tried this? Maybe this would work. I just heard, I just learned this. Let's try it out on your business. So it's a way to, like, learn a lot, because there's a lot to know as a freelance copywriter, but it's hard to remember all that stuff unless you're using it. And I think Jim and, and Ning and I have talked about that. Like, it's, you read a lot of books and it just kind of, it doesn't stick unless you're using it. So devour stuff, like read lots, consume lots of podcasts, lots of, books. But also keep in mind, like, listen and read thinking, like, how can I go use this tomorrow or next week?
I'll share a short story about when I was learning all this. I was in graduate school at Colorado State University, and I was in a biology lab. And basically what I did was I did something called cell culture. So what that means is I walked into a lab every morning, and for 3 to 4 hours, I would pipette stuff from petri dishes back and forth under a hood, under a fume hood. So I was in a PhD program while trying to learn copywriting at the same time. So how did I make that work? I put earphones in while I was doing the pipetting, and all I would do is listen to audiobooks on copywriting or podcasts or whatever. And then if I heard something interesting, I'd take out my phone and I'd write notes in it. And then after lunch, I would sit in the office, pretend to be doing PhD stuff, but actually just be writing, okay, immediately applying what I just learned. So those two pieces that Austin just said, devour content, apply immediately. Both of those are equally important. So don't just devour content. You got to devour, then apply, or else it just won't stick.
Yeah. And, if you're wondering, well, how do I apply this if, I'm only talking to like one new client a week, or I don't have a lot going on? I would say the Facebook groups would be a good place to chat about that, either to ask questions to other copywriters, what do you think about this new thing I just learned? Or you can do your own little mini lessons. Something that I did, one way I used this was with John McIntyre's blog. He ran a copywriting blog and had some courses and stuff, and I just offered to blog for him for free. So every time I was learning stuff, I was writing blog posts about it, and that really did help cement that stuff in my mind. So, just think about it. Like, you could use Facebook as your own little blog platform and just, write about things you've learned, pick out a website and show how you might rewrite the headlines, what's working, what's not. I wouldn't let lack of medium stop you from, writing or talking about this stuff. You could literally write on the site Medium. So the more you can, put what you've learned in writing, the better that stuff will stick. And I think the more valuable you'll be as a consultant, copywriter, freelancer.
One other thing I would say is I know that Austin and I are doing our best to kind of come in and answer questions, but we're not there in the Slack immediately, all the time. One thing that we did when we were starting off, so when I first met Austin, is me, Austin, and this guy named Mike, one of our friends, had a mini mastermind where basically we met every week and just shared our copy, gave each other feedback, and just kind of talked about life. That's something that you guys can do with each other. A lot of you know a lot already, and you're great resources for each other. So, if one of you wants to take the spearhead on that and say okay, I can, see if you guys want to share stuff. And even after this coaching group ends, I would suggest that you guys do something like that with each other, because you are all in the same boat. You're all trying to achieve the same thing, and learning from each other. It's a really great, you got a lot to gain from each other. Instead of just going at it alone. Going at it alone can feel like you're in your own little dungeon and nothing's actually real. And you're like, man, am I actually doing stuff? But,
Yeah, totally. Everybody has blind spots, even the best have blind spots. And sometimes you're too kind of far inside your little bottle to see what's on the outside. And it's super helpful to have a community, not just practically, but we've kind of been talking about, emotionally, mentally, it feels good to have a team. That's one of the potential, it's just one of the downsides of working remote is you don't get that, personal camaraderie. So anytime you can create that in your day-to-day, it'll make the work easier and more fun. And yeah, meet people, introduce yourself to people on the, I guess I got more here on the, Facebook groups. If there's somebody you click with, try and start this. It's, Slack is free. You can create your own board. Me and Ning were the No Hype Hurricane, and Mike Abramov. Give yourself a little superhero name. and yeah, have fun with it. Okay. Oh yeah. So over delivering. You got to set yourself apart from other copywriters because I mean, there's not a million of us out there, but there's certainly competition. And as more people move to the internet, working online, there's going to be more competition and you want to rise above. So one way to do that is don't just give the client what they ask for. The amount of time it'll take you to write an additional subject line, maybe another headline, for them to test is pretty marginal. When you start cranking these out, you'll get fast. So what I like to do is, I mean, the last promo I did for my health client, I gave him like 3 extra headlines. No, I gave him 2 extra headlines. I gave him another lead. I gave him 5 extra emails to test. Like I just went above and beyond. And it's just another way that you can separate yourself from the competition and have them want to hire you again, have them refer you to people because they're like, wow, this person did such a great job. And so, yeah, think about ways to do that. I say as you're starting out, if it's a time thing, you don't have to but if it's not that hard for you to throw in another subject line, go ahead and do it. Let me think. Okay, I think we kind of talked about applying content you learned. Oh yeah. Ning and I were at a conference and one of the speakers put violently before or after every verb. So I thought that was kind of funny, but it's kind of good. Like you should be, there's no ceiling. Like you can always be testing what the roof is. So especially in Upwork or just in your conversation with clients, like your rates can be 60 for an email one day and they're 75 the next day. So don't be afraid to test the waters there.
I would say scale with the amount of references you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had something else I wanted to say, but I forgot. Yeah, the more references you have, the more scaling power to your rates you have. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all I've got. So we can do Q&A. And does anybody have any questions about any of the slides, any of the points? Nope.
Yeah, I've got a question. Do you want to ask you on the whole idea of reaching out to the clients, hustling to get different work? Sometimes what I've thought about is if it's a case where it's something you haven't done before, you're not really sure what it is, how do you deal with that mentally? Like, is your mindset, I'm just going to work it out? Like, I'm just going to try get this stuff and then I have the ability to work it out? But sometimes I just don't know how I'm going to be delivering when I'm talking to the person.
Yeah.
You'll never feel ready. You just have to take the jump.
I mean, I'll say if someone said, all right, John, we want you to do a VSL and we're going to need 6 emails and a headline variation, that would be something we could help you do. If they want you to run their entire marketing department, structure an entire new product launch, with dozens of emails and videos, I would hesitate to go for that just because, that might be too big. So there's not a hard line in the sand. It is a bit of a gray area, but one way you can do is listen to everything they're saying, ask good questions, and just let them know, I'm going to do a little bit of research and see what this would take. Is it okay if I get back to you? And then you could come to us and give us the scope of the assignment, or, any copywriter you trust who has been there before. And then we can kind of figure out, is this realistic? Is this something you can deliver on? So you don't necessarily have to give them the answer right on the phone or right in the messenger. but again, it'd be good to like find that out fast and get back to them fast.
Um,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Tim.
sorry to cut you off. Did you have anything else you wanted to say, Austin?
No.
John, I would say like, it sounds to me like you're scared of taking the VSL because you don't feel like you're good enough yet to do it. Is that kind of close, or am I off with that?
No, I think you're right. I'm specifically thinking about the one where the guy's like, he doesn't even know how to start. It's just like, I've got this product. What do I do next? Yeah, it's like, whoa, like, okay, that's a tough question.
Okay. I mean,
but I do have that problem.
Yeah. If he's, say hypothetically, if this guy, like, he doesn't know anything about marketing, he's just saying like, please just do this marketing for me. If he's going to pay you a good amount, I think it's a good project. That being said, if you do feel that fear, it's normal to feel that fear. I would say that think about a VSL or any long sales letter is just a compilation of a bunch of small copy elements. It's just made up of a bunch of blocks of different types of copy, right? Here you have the benefits. Here you have the proof. Here you have the mechanism. Here you have the this, the that. If you look at any piece of long copy, it's just a lot of small modules packaged together. That's something you can do. And I'm telling you right now, as a coach, like, I've looked at your writing. You are good enough to write a VSL. You may not think you are. Okay, you are. Okay? So, factor that into your decision whether to take it or not. Because that fear, even if you study copywriting for another 5 months before you take on a VSL with another client, it's still going to be there. Okay? So the only way to prove to yourself that you can do it is just to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just take the plunge. In 5 months, you're not going to have us sitting here and helping you every step of the way. Right now, you have us. So it's the perfect time to take a VSL project.
Yeah, absolutely. And even worst case, if you had to do it alone, I mean, you should definitely use us while you have us. But there's templates. I mean, with like a sales letter template, like you could go out and do something that wouldn't be half bad. But yeah, again, money likes speed. So it'd be awesome to work on one with you over the next 4 weeks.
It's like approach anxiety. Just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely scared shitless for my first sales letter. Even
Everybody
after
is.
I finished it and submitted it, I was like, oh, the client's going to fly to Denver and stab me in the eye. This is so bad. And he ended up liking it. So, yeah, should we,
does that answer your question, John?
Or yeah, did that answer your question?
Yeah, 100%. Very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, cool.